So, Jack, can you explain this?
This is kind of a meta thing, isn't it? The notifications that are displayed on this screen are in reference to what they're shipping for the Worldwide Developers Conference, but they're almost unreadable because they're white type on a white dialog box hovering on top of a really bright white and blue gradient background. So you gotta like strain your eyes to see what it reads. Weirdly enough, like you would get caned for this, even probably like in their app store. Like the contrast requirements for app, you could get sued for this shit. It's like there used to be these
accessibility.
What do they call, like ambulance chaser, like people on the internet that would go to your website and be like, the text's too small, the contrast's not high enough, the blah 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 blah. And there are these design standards that obviously exist in order for people who don't have standard eyesight to be able to see. And it just seems like everything they've shipped in this update is like totally ignored that, which is also why you never think that these companies that ship like era-defining technologies will slip into a mode of production that is not at that level all the time, but it just seems to happen over and over and over and over again. Like the heyday is certainly for the last few years is like starkly behind on what they're shipping.
Welcome to another episode of Not Investment Advice. You got Trung Phan, Bilal Zaidi, Jack Butcher. Jack, what you sipping on there, mate? You on the muscle milk, is it? What we got going?
What's this? Fairlife Core Power, boys.
Jeez, that was at 47 grams of protein.
Nah, this is the big one, 26. 26.
Medium sized. Okay, I like
Bilal,
it.
why don't you tell listeners what we're talking about? Because I have a comment about Fairlife. We should actually do an episode about them. They're the Coca-Cola's largest acquisition ever. Fun fact.
Really? Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. All right, let's go. So we're going to talk about Apple WWDC, what the highlights were. Then there's some viral videos going on. We've got the Star Wars one, the Moses. Did you guys see the Moses one I shared as well?
Yeah, I stole that one from Reddit. I got a ton of engagement from it, and then people stole it from me.
There we go. So that one was mad. Game. Let's show that. Let's show that.
Well, Bilal, let me tell the difference.
Go on.
I credit the OP. I credit the original post. That's the difference. You'll see a lot of
your one.
What do you expect? What do you expect?
No, hold on.
It's like Trung made the video.
What's the appropriate credit for you?
No, but Jack, I'm just saying. If you watch 99% of people that snipe content do not credit. I'm just saying, I play the game. It's the game.
Let's name names, Trung. Who are we talking about?
Yeah.
I play it well. I play ethically.
Well, they could have gone a step further to discredit you by downloading and reposting the video, but they did.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Native.
You have the attribution. You had the attribution based on the platform's
the attribution. It's not mine. I just
want that engagement.
I want them to attribute the OP. That's what I want.
Okay, fair play. All right,
I do.
Let's get on to that in a second. So Apple.
Okay, very
Star
very
Wars video.
Of you, Trump.
Okay. And then let's break down real quick, boys. I've got to keep it on track here because we got double recording again for people. Nintendo Switch 2 sold out everywhere apparently. So I want to hear a little bit more about that. Obviously, people have been asking about Elon Trump because last week we recorded as it was all popping off. We will touch on it towards the end. But I think a lot of people have already spoken a lot about it, except for the All-In Pod, boys.
Yeah,
we're still waiting for the episode.
The silence is deafening.
The silence is worth a lot more than posting it by this point. So, do we have a meme in a week? Are we going
yes,
full
I got
post?
you guys.
Go on.
Friend of the pod, Chris Back. For the people that don't know, the big thing from yesterday's
sorry, we got read it. I just got a little quick read as well, but go on.
I gotta say, Chris is in the Hall of Fame for getting he'll digest what happens. People will post. 10 hours later, Chris will come off the top rope with the definitive piece of content. So for the listeners, Jack's losing his mind. I'm going to have him read it, but I'll explain to you what happened. So
the percentage you killed me the most, man. When I got to the end of it.
Let's get it because people ain't heard it. Let's see. Let's see what it is.
So the WWDC is obviously Apple's worldwide developer conference. And The last three for Apple have been, I want to tell you what the last three is, and this tells you the state of Apple. The last three worldwide developer conferences were Apple Vision Pro, Apple Intelligence, and Liquid Glass. So they are on a run of just anti-Steve Jobs, right? Just
hit after
milking,
hit.
Yeah. The hits aren't working. They're shipping vaporware in the form of Vapor Intelligence. Apple Vision Pro is a technological masterpiece, masterstroke, total consumer flop. And then Liquid Glass was their big thing this year. They just redid the UI because they shipped vaporware last year and they've completely missed the AI boat. So this segment, we don't really need to talk about WWDC so much, like all the product launches.
You ain't showing the meme yet, bro. No,
I'm gonna show the meme, okay, and then I want to get into it.
Burying the lead, as you would say.
Jack, can you please tell us, read this meme, explain to the listeners what the meme is, and tell us your thoughts about Liquid Glass as a UI design. Go ahead.
Okay, the meme says, honestly, kudos to Apple for keeping their DEI promises well into 2025 and employing a 100% blind design team.
Why are they blind, Jack? What's the joke here?
Well, I haven't seen that much on this. Had friends in town until just now over the weekend.
Okay, I want you to look at it. Tell us right now, live.
It seems like they've done some UI refresh that introduces like a massive amount of transparency to these icons, and you have these messy layers of just confusing looking UIs now. Like correct. The example shown here is like the swipe down where you control the volume and the brightness, and the Bluetooth is now basically the same thing, but way less usable with way more transparency and view through to the stuff that's behind it. Very strange.
Well, here, Jack, here's the other, here's like.
Jesus Christmas. Okay,
so Jack, can you explain this? How did you vomit?
Bearing in mind, most people listening, so let's describe what we're seeing, on the screen.
Because this is called Liquid Glass. Yeah,
Jack's descriptions of visual stuff is always the best. He's like, translucent is 75% hue. Like he's got the gradient going.
Yeah, please explain.
Well, this is
principles here.
This is kind of a meta thing, isn't it? The notifications that are displayed on this screen are in reference to what they're shipping for the Worldwide Developers Conference, but they're almost unreadable because they're white type on a white dialog box hovering on top of a really bright white and blue gradient background. So you got to like strain your eyes to see what it reads. Weirdly enough, like you would get caned for this, even probably like in their app store. Like the contrast requirements for app, you could get sued for this shit. Like there used to be these
accessibility.
What do they call, like ambulance chaser, like people on the internet that would go to your website and be like, the text's too small, the contrast's not high enough, the blah 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 blah. And there are these design standards that obviously exist in order for people who don't have standard eyesight to be able to see. And it just seems like everything they've shipped in this update is like totally ignored that, which is also why the Chris's meme is so good, because it's like commentary on both sides of that. It's fucking hilarious. But I don't know, man. It's a crazy. You never think that these companies that ship like era-defining technologies will slip into a mode of production that is not at that level all the time, but it just seems to happen over and over and over and over again. Like the heyday is certainly for the last few years is like starkly behind on what they're shipping. Like so, these things used to not even be announced at the conferences, right? Like the UI refreshes and like they're not newsworthy events.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Typically, or they haven't been in years past. It's like,
that's just like
just a nice,
massive change,
surprising
like notifications thing for the first time or something.
Yeah. So it feels like they, like, for a number of reasons, it just feels like, what's the word I'm looking for? It feels underwhelming because they made such a big deal out of it too. Like it could have been an option that they just shipped and been like, oh, if you like the look of this for whatever reason, you can do it. Because I think in the last iOS, one of the things that Apple was known for a very long time is like, we don't want to give the user massive amounts of agency to customize this stuff. Like that is not the important thing about the experience we're building, right? Like that is all
it's like a philosophical
bullshit.
thing. Like we know better. We're going to design what's
exactly
what's better.
It's like all the Steve Jobs philosophy of like the back of the cabinet must look as good as the front of the cabinet, and the carpenter makes those decisions because they have a point of view. And now it's just like, who gives a shit? We'll like let you desecrate the visual environment as a user here, who obviously doesn't like that is not optimizing for the most accessible or beautiful or functional experience. It's just what you do when you don't know what you're doing, it seems like. And that's fair criticism, I think. More like some of this stuff I feel like is blown out of proportion. Even the response to the Vision Pro, it's like fair play to them with that. Like it's an insanely ambitious thing to make, and it will push computing forward in some way eventually, but this is not that.
So Jack, you're the kind of the TLDR here is they've put to center stage what really should have been like, maybe 10 years ago, that this is like the end of the call. It's like, here, it's the middle. It's like, oh, by the way, you want liquid glass? Here, you can flip it on. This was the entire event was around it.
When I saw the first bit of the reel, I was like, oh man, this is new hardware. Like they've developed some literally new kind of glass that's like being yeah. I genuinely thought that. I was like, oh, this is some like insane chemical breakthrough that they could like adjust the molecules of the glass based on like, but no, it's like a different gradient setting in the UI on the same piece of hardware. You just
gave me a great idea for a tweet. I'm just going to be like, yeah, my old man just texted me. He thought liquid glass was like a brand new material that was like patented. But like that would have been worthwhile.
You could tell it was me. Like, I thought it was like Kindle style, like we have a new
Paperwhite or whatever.
Yeah, like a new density of LED, like liquid, whatever the acronym is, technology they use. Like Samsung or there's the like folding phone that's made possible by a new type of screen and all that. Like that felt like, given the fact that like Tim Cook is tweeting this out as the main update, I was like, oh man, this is like some insane at a glance. That's what I thought it was. Because even the way they show it in that marketing video, it's like liquid glass, right? These like shapes are forming on the screen, and I thought it was a far more sophisticated breakthrough than different colors.
Well, Jack, let me summarize a really a kind of meme that went around is like Google's entire what is it, I/O, Bilal? Is that a conference they had 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
That was all AI. The entire Google I/O developer conference was, we are shoving artificial intelligence into every crevice humanly possible, whereas Apple's presentation was only UI, and it just shows where they are, right? Granted, that is their area of expertise. They're really good at UI, typically. Human-computer interaction, HCI.
It's like when IBM were really good at mainframes, though, isn't it, Trunk? Do you know what I mean? It's like they got to keep up with the times, do you know what I mean?
Dude, Bilal
I was just saying, real quick, because I'm Apple stock this year. I own a bunch of Apple stock, so I'm not like anti it, but 17.5% down this year.
Yeah.
That's a lot compared to, say, Google's down 5% this year. Microsoft is up 12% this year. Obviously, the stock market's kind of flat, or NASDAQ or whatever, is probably, what is it, flat-ish? Because it went down, has come back up a bit. So it's like they're majorly underperforming. Still, obviously, what is it, a $3 trillion company, so it's not like they're struggling. They've got a bunch of cash on there. But yeah, it's not looking good, is it, really? I mean, I don't really see where what do you think their case is for them to turn this around?
Well, so Bilal, let me address the other kind of two small things that are worthwhile talking about WWDC here. The best thing to watch, if you're listening, you want to see what the wrap is. There's dozens of announcements, but this was like the one that got memed the most. The Verge always has good YouTube videos on this. To Bilal's question of like where they're at, so they did address Siri. They said that they're working on an update. So thankfully they didn't ship vaporware this year. That's a positive. And they actually did something that's quite large. They announced a developer kit. where developers can work directly on Apple iPhone AI. So they're allowing people to develop AI products now on the phone. That's better than nothing, because if you remember when the original iPhone was shipped in 2007, it did not have an app store. Steve Jobs did not want an app store, and made a lot of sense in 2007. He's like, have you ever seen a Windows PC? Have you seen the viruses on a Windows PC? That was the entire thesis of Mac, right? It's like, we're not just letting anyone release software for Apple. And it made sense in 2007, a lot of sense. App Store comes out though, and then you unleash the imagination and capitalism on the platform. So we'll see what happens with his developer kit. So I'll give 2 points between Bilal has a comment, but the 2 points I'll make about the on iPhone AI is good. They're going to allow people that want to be developers have a chance to go to 2 billion people, right? The con is this. These are not going to be the most cutting edge AI use cases. Not necessarily that you need that on mobile, but that was kind of the criticism is like, man, if you're an AI developer, yeah, you get access to Apple's 2 billion, but like you got much smaller models on the phone. But there are benefits, there are trade-offs. If you want pure privacy security, that could be a benefit. And then the last thing I'll add about Apple, and then we can move on to the Google View videos, and this is very related. Did you guys see the paper that came out from Apple a couple days before WWDC? It's called The Illusion of Thinking.
Yeah. Do you want to explain what it was, just the high level?
Yeah, so you saw that. What did you see as the kind of the TLDR?
I just saw the headline. All I heard was essentially when we're using like ChatGPT, like the thinking models where it goes and thinks for like 60 seconds or a few minutes. My understanding was they're kind of downplaying that and saying it's not actually doing much thinking. It's basically just predicting. It's taking longer to predict or something along those lines. I didn't read too much. I saw a few headlines on it.
No, you kind of hit
the right?
hit the nail on the head, right? Because these you nailed basically what the main point was. They're saying that these are reasoning models, right? And the point that the paper makes is that they tested DeepSeek, Claude, and OpenAI to see if these reasoning models, and I'm pulling out the air quotes here, were actually reasoning. So the conclusion was effectively, like you said, Bilal, it wasn't reasoning in the way that humans are. But, a lot of commentators were saying that, like, actually one of the problems with the current AI waves that we're trying to anthropomologize it, right? It's like, make it seem human. It's like, when in fact, when you do that, you actually cause a lot of issues. Because when you make something seem human, you get these huge waves of, like, oh, it's like the AI Terminator thing. Oh, it's human. That whole thing, right? But basically what Apple was demonstrating, the researchers, hilariously, it was an intern, is they were demonstrating they used a very smart way to do this. They created a complex puzzle that could show how reasoning happens. And they basically showed that these reasoning models, like OpenAI, take O3, could reason on a puzzle. But as soon as you change one or two variables in a different puzzle, it's like, it wasn't even like they're like 90% of the way there, completely collapsed. It was like, you know what I mean? It's like, it couldn't transfer any of the lessons it had learned on the previous puzzle to the next one, which like a human would do. It was like a pure pattern matching machine, and completely collapsed. And the funny thing that people were saying though is like, so Apple completely misses the AI wave, right? They ship vaporware, and then their contribution to the field is shitting on the entire field.
Yeah, that's kind of how it feels right now, the way you describe it. It's like, it's like, the old thing about it's like the doing versus teaching thing, and I'm a big fan of people teaching if that's what they like to do. But like, it's similar here. It's like they're just kind of like complaining about how it's not that good. Versus clearly, like, we're all using this stuff. It's way better than before, right? Like, so 100%. It seems a bit like they have really missed the boat. I hope they figure it out. But
is there 10D chess here? Do they throw water on the hype to drive down the valuations and then acquire?
Maybe that's by this point. Maybe that's all there is to play, right? It's like a political game in the same way. The same way like OpenAI got Johnny Ive, because that's like a optics thing of like, oh, we're getting this talent to make this take us in a new direction. I think at that level, part of it is honestly like a political. It's kind of like political messaging almost. Maybe political is not the right word, but you know what I mean. It's kind of like
you're playing the game. You're playing corporate spycraft. Bilal, let us wrap up this. We'll talk about the Google View video that you wanted to talk about. Let me post this. can you read this meme out, which was quote retweeted by Grimes, singer, Elon Musk's former partner. And here we go. This is Trung Phan at his best for real-time memeing. Why don't you read that out, Bilal?
Me reading Apple's new AI reasoning paper. Apple says AI are only pattern matching machines and can't even do proper reasoning or original thinking. And then the next one is the robot saying, "Can you?" And then I can't actually see the bottom of the thing.
It's Will Smith thinking.
He's just holding his thing like, "Oops, no, maybe not."
He's like, "Wait, you're right. Can I do that?" Well, yeah, that's from iRobot, right? It's like the line from iRobot was, he's like, "You're just a robot. Can you compose a symphony?" And then the robot goes back. He's like, "Can you?" And then Will Smith's like, "Damn, you're right. I can't."
Yo, by the way, have you boys seen, talking of them trying to be more human-like, did you guys play around with the new advanced voice mode? I think they only announced it like 2 days ago on on ChatGPT.
I have not. Is it good?
But the high level is, I noticed a massive difference. Like, it's so much more human-like, actually. So even the cadence is so much. It sounds like it's thinking. It's like there's like these words
Crazy.
in. Have you tried it, Jack, or you're just saying?
I need to do it. Sometimes I do it in the car. Like, that's the only time I've used the voice one, where I'm like behind on something, going between places.
Oh.
Let me try and get something made while I'm in transit. So I have to try it again, but it's really unnatural. The version prior to that is like, you feel like a bit of a tit talking to it, even if you're,
a bit of a tit.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's like you're talking to a robot. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. Which maybe this will be even worse because it's.
I was going to say it feels
closer.
even more.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, this really feels.
What am I doing?
Was just thinking. I was
Alexa, what's the time? That's what you want to be doing.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I was saying I was doing it yesterday, and I noticed the difference straight away, and then I was like, there were a few gaps, like, you know, when you're on a phone call and their signal goes for like a few seconds, it felt like that, and at one time the male voice turned into a female voice.
That's kind of weird.
It was like a little glitch. Yeah, a glitch in the AI there.
Wow, that's pretty horny of you to be doing that little role play like that.
Role play.
Man, little fucking
like switch it up for me.
Did you guys see that image that went mental viral of the guy on the subway? It was like over the shoulder picture of him, like,
what
"You're
was this
doing
one?
fine,
Tell
my love,"
Bilal
or something.
what happened.
Yeah, I don't think I remember this.
So it's basically somebody, you know, you've seen these pictures, like normally it's like someone doing some vulgar exchange at a
like with a massive text as well. It's like an older guy with glasses on.
No, it's like okay, hold on, can I tell the genre before Jack tells it?
Yeah.
I've seen one of a grandpa with basically what looks like their grandkid, and they're like, their phones turned to the side, and you know, old people, like older folk, have the larger letters, which to be honest,
so
I do
read,
it too.
Yeah.
I do large letters on my iPhone too, so I'm not hating. But this dude, somebody caught a video of him making the nastiest request from a
baseball game or something.
Worker, if you will.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Was it a baseball game?
Yeah, at the baseball game.
I've seen some Uber driver ones, you know, taken from the back seat. There's so many good ones. So many
that's
good
But
ones.
Jack,
that's a whole genre, as you said.
tell us the latest entry of this genre.
So I believe it's on the New York subway, and I can't remember where I saw it post, some anonymous account, but it was like, just saw somebody typing this into ChatGPT. We're cooked, or it's over. And it's like a guy that's writing to ChatGPT like, "Oh, I didn't get much sleep last night, and I don't really want to go into work today." And it's like the thing is writing back like, "Don't worry, my love, it's all going to be okay. You're so strong." And he's like, "Thank you," with a heart. That's typing it back. And the caption that goes with it was to the words to the effect of, "We're finished." And it was, the caption is accurate. That was like it feels like that will be a moment in time that you look back at as like the inception of this stuff. Because I've seen stuff on Instagram. I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, where like people have made these videos or reels or whatever that are like tributes to their relationship with ChatGPT. Like, no one understands me like ChatGPT. It's like, it's just telling you what you want to hear incessantly, right? That's what it does. Like, validates every feeling and need and request that you have, tells you that you're great. No wonder it's an insanely popular product with an infinite TAM. You know, anybody
TAM,
with it. So
what, Jack?
man,
I saw a video.
crazy.
It was Eid, so Eid Mubarak to people who celebrate a few days ago. But there was a video of an older Pakistani grandma on like voice mode on ChatGPT, and she was straight up talking to it in Urdu, and the Urdu coming back was like perfect as well. And then she was asking ChatGPT, she was like, "How was your Eid? Like, did you have a good Eid?" Like, it was quite sweet actually, because she's
be
like,
good for old people for sure.
Yeah, honestly, especially like loneliness stuff. But if you just she's straight up having a proper conversation. You know, like when, I don't know if your parents are like this, but like there's like a meme of like the immigrant. Calling the immigrant grandma in another country, and like you're literally shouting on the phone. I don't know if you had this Trung with like Vietnam, but you're literally just like, "How's everything going?" Like really loud, and it's like that style of conversation. But she's just having a full-on two-way conversation, and there's kids are around her, kind of like laughing and like in a playful way. But it's just mad, you know. It's like for her, it's just she's so innocently just having a conversation with it, not really understanding what it is even. And it's like she's asking her, the computer, like, "How's your day going?" Basically, "How was your Eid? Did you do anything fun for Eid?" And it's like, and then she's saying her stuff. She's like, "Oh yeah, we went to some people's house. The weather was nice," like all this sort of stuff. So it's definitely getting there.
You know what's funny is like it almost socially, it's like thought of as like totally acceptable to run a simulation to an old person to make him like feel supported or understood, and then like if you transpose that onto like a 30-year-old bloke on the New York subway, it's like the most pathetic thing you've ever seen, you know?
Yeah, it's a like, different request being made.
Yeah, a different request, but it's also like
different
like where is the line of like when you cross into this like understanding what this thing is? I think past a certain age, it's like you know, explaining the mathematics of a token predicting machine to a 90-year-old, they're never gonna know that, right? Or care about it.
Token predicting, yeah,
that's what it is, yeah. But like knowing that and having the like cognitive dissonance to still use it as like this emotional support thing is it will be studied, I'm sure, boys.
Yeah, moment in time, fellas. All right, anything else on Apple before we move on, and the voice mode, boys, before we move on to Star Wars?
Test it. I want to report back.
Talking of human like, go on, Trung.
Bilal, the last thing I'll add is the one line from the over the shoulder was I can't wait for you to sit in my mechanical lap or something to that.
No.
It was crazy.
That's respect. ChatGPT spitting
but yeah,
game
let's move on.
There we go. Got the Riz. All right, let's get going. All right, sharing the screen. I'm going to share two. So this is the first one.
Boys, orders just came in from Vader's bitch ass, and me and Greg are headed to Endor. Forest mission, easy terrain, little recon work. Should be chill.
Okay, Greg, I'm telling you, I've seen like 5 of those little teddy bear looking things. One of them had a spear.
Well, guess they were real.
I thought you were joking.
We're gonna die in a tree hammock because of you, Greg.
We got out. Greg chewed through the net like a psychopath, and now the teddy bears are chasing us. They're throwing things, Greg. Why are they so fast?
All right, so we get the idea. Let me just do the Moses one too, because I thought this was also really good. Really quickly. So Moses says YouTuber live streaming the Exodus. All right.
Guys, me and Aaron just got inside the palace. We're about to ask Pharaoh to let our people go. No idea how this is going to go, but wish us luck.
Okay, we just left the meeting. We asked, he laughed.
The meeting?
Said no one's going anywhere.
Like it's a Zoom meeting.
The fight goes on.
Pharaoh, if you're watching this is your last chance.
All right,
let the people go.
No, hold on.
Rain, hail,
let
frogs, whatever.
Dude, let him separate the Red Sea, man.
Yeah.
He let us go, then changed his mind.
This is wild, man.
Now he's sending soldiers. We're literally running to the sea right now. We
this
just
one
got
kills
here,
me.
sea in front,
this part
army
kills
behind.
me.
No way out. Everyone's freaking out. Let's see what God tells us to do. Guys, the sea literally opened up. I'll explain later. We're walking through now.
Oh my God.
And no, this path isn't on Google Maps.
Wait,
film the potting.
Pause that. Dude, that part absolutely sent me.
Yeah, what? They start Google Maps?
The sea spread. No, the sea spread. I'll explain later.
All right, should I stop this, yeah? All right,
By the way, suspiciously lacking credit, that one.
There we go.
No. You always have to look at the second tweet.
Oh, you're talking about Trump's
the
tweet.
second tweet.
The second
buddy.
tweet. Wait. Let's do that. 1.5 million views versus 36,000. Come on, Trump.
Hold on. No. Let me
Go
address
to the
this.
terms and conditions, and they'll be in there somewhere.
Hold on. Let me call Jack. Let me answer Jack's
And then we got
question.
readtrung.com link straight after that. There we go.
No. That's after,
here.
buddy. But hold on. Let me do the math. What happens to X links with X posts with links in them? They get throttled. Is that right?
True.
Yeah.
So putting something in the second post will get as much traffic as the link in the top post. So, buddy, it's a wash. I've done the math, Butcher.
I think Reddit's fine with the traffic. Does it not say who made it though? Did it say who did
I'm
this?
assuming that the Redditor might have sniped it too.
Yeah, probably. And Reddit's normally just people. But anyway, that one was actually really good to see because the for people who are only listening, which is most people, the visual of them walking through the sea is pretty sick. I mean, it's pretty wild.
Amazing.
I mean, all of it is really, really good.
Well,
but
dude,
yeah,
let's talk about this for a second because we've talked about VO, and I would actually point people to friend of the pod, two of them, Greg Eisenberg and PJ Ace. You guys have seen PJ Ace's videos. He made that fake pharma ad that he's gone nuclear viral. He's worked in the Hollywood previously, but now he's all in on AI videos. And the TLDR in these videos that you saw, so Stormtrooper vlogs, right? Went from 0 to I think 200,000 followers in 1 week after 10 videos. Okay? And I just want to parrot something that PJ said here because I totally agree with him. He says right now it is I like to ask Jack about this because Jack's gone super viral a lot. PJ Ace says right now is a once in a lifetime opportunity to build an audience with VO3. It's like, he's like, I've never seen anything like it. And he was pointing out the Stormtroopers vlog, which is the story about, some listeners heard it. It's about Greg the Stormtrooper, which is effing genius because you're building on existing IP, but doing it from an angle that is modern and hasn't been done before. And up to 3 months ago, couldn't even be done on a budget. So each of these videos, 30 to 60 seconds, probably took $500. I'll do the math for you quickly. $5 will get you 8 seconds of VO footage. But I've heard that basically you need to do about 100 prompts to get 20% usable ones, right? So it's like prompting anything, text, image. It's never right on the first one, right? These are not one shots. So there's still a lot of craft and editing involved. People are like, oh, it's just AI. It's like, no, it's like you still have to do the craft,
because
right?
how is it? What was it? 9 seconds? Did you just say it there?
8 seconds.
8 seconds per
of high quality with audio. But the funny thing with, for example,
at the moment, obviously in the future, it's going to be way more. Yeah.
But so I'll bring up a good point. Bilal, you like the Moses one, but we didn't play it to the end. His voice changes to like an Aussie guy's voice by the end of it. So like, it's not.
Yeah, there's so many good ones you could do. Honestly, just doing accents alone.
Dude,
imagine a Cockney version of Moses, or
exactly,
maybe
dude.
All of them, maybe not all of them actually, but
so I mean, for Moses. A lot of people, they'll be like, "Oh, this is slop. It's all slop."
No, man. There's people going to use this for some fun stuff.
Actually, this is what I want to ask. Let me ask that slop question to you guys shortly, right after I answer the VO economics, because I'm curious. So the VO economics, right, is if you need 100 clips to make basically find a minute worth of editable footage, that's $500 of VO credits. Right, and then you add in labor. You're talking about $1,000 for one of these super viral 30 to 60 second Stormtrooper clips. So now I'm going to give you the other side of that. First of all, this level of quality, is it perfect? No. Does it always obey the law of physics? No. Is it always consistent? No. But dude, that's 80% of the way there, and it's already going viral. And as TikTok and YouTube have shown, what does the market show? User-generated content? Fine, right? Oh, it's not as good as Hollywood? We don't care. It's where we are. We meet them on the phone.
Yeah, often it works better, honestly.
Exactly, right? Yeah. So, Bilal, here's the point I want to bring up is this Google VO Stormtrooper, Andor, was probably the most highly reviewed Disney IP since Lucasfilm was acquired by Disney in 2012. That was a 2-season TV show by Tony Gilroy, the guy that made the film Rogue One, really good prequel for Star Wars, and also wrote all the Bourne Identity scripts. Okay, so Do you know how much money it cost to make those 2 seasons of Andor? Guess.
I have no sense of how much stuff that is.
Throw
Tens of
out.
millions? Tens of millions?
$600 million.
Jesus Christmas.
Bro,
wow.
they spent
You said 2 seasons. Okay, fair enough.
$600 million. And I can tell you right now, there's a non-zero chance that Stormtrooper vlogs will get as much views and as much attention as the $600 million films. And this guy's spending $1,000 a clip. Now, people
and
are
that doesn't mean
wondering,
we're saying it's as good or whatever.
I'm not saying it's as good. I'm saying
it's the same way a video on YouTube for a vlog that gets crazy views isn't necessarily the same. But
they're different things. But the point that's being made is I'm trying to show the aperture of Hollywood, right? And because text has been for 3 years now, we've met B-level college papers on demand. We've met that. McKinsey first-year analyst papers on demand, right? What happens when video gets there? What's going to happen to Hollywood, right? Now, the last thing I'll say before I ask you, Bilal, like specifically about we're saying kind of ethics of it and the demand of it, was this Stormtrooper vlog, everyone's going to be like, oh, isn't Disney going to sue them into oblivion? Well, this pretty much reaches fair use, right? It's transformational, and it's listen, this is not legal advice. But it's transformational, and it's parody, right? It's dumb Starbucks, exactly. And not only that, Disney has a long history. Not Disney. George Lucas had a long history of allowing fan fiction, as long as they didn't monetize it. So the question becomes: will this guy monetize it directly? He's selling a course on it, a little bit different. That's not direct monetization. Are Disney's lawyers right now in a room thinking about how to put this guy in Gitmo? 100%. Are they going to be able to pull it off? I don't think they are. And that's why I want to bring it to you, Bilal. The market decides, right? So could you give us the split, your initial reactions to what you saw?
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit when we spoke about the Studio Ghibli, or how do you say Ghibli with a J, right? Or sounds like a J. That whole discussion, if you guys listened to that episode in the past, it's like you said, that was a little bit more direct, obviously, because people were prompting it specifically with that term. It wasn't just anime style generic. Similarly here, though, if you're saying Stormtrooper or you're saying like a known quantity and known character, that is using IP that already exists. So yeah, the question to me is long term. Clearly, this is happening. Like, my stance on this is already happening. You're not going to slow it down, even with legal frameworks. All that's going to happen, it reminds me actually quite a bit of YouTube and the original big lawsuit they had, remember, with music? And then they
Which is why Google acquired them, essentially, right? Can you explain that, Bilal?
Well, they had to do the content ID thing where originally YouTube was growing so quickly, then they were going to get sued or were already getting
Viacom sued their pants
exactly.
off. Yeah.
And Google obviously has enough resources to like find a creative solution and legal chops and money to be able to field that, and then they eventually came to a resolution. And I will say the content ID to remind people was every time you upload a YouTube video, it scans the video. It's like a fingerprint equivalent, and it says, "Oh, this music is being used, is owned by XYZ label. Do you want to?" There's a few things you can do once that's flagged, essentially. But what it means is there was an automated at-scale way for it to be identified and then, crucially, monetized by the IP owner. And so I think longer term, the question here is it's not as easy because it's not just using a direct song in a music video, in a video, right? So this is straight up like you're using something, remixing it.
But they can fingerprint it, right? Because they're all using Google to create it. This is a great point, Bilal.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And I guess the question is like the training data that's been used is the first part. Like, is anyone being fairly compensated for that? And that's obviously a really big question. Like, how can you even attribute a value to that at the moment? So I don't know how that's going to work. But I guess in the same way, all the AI companies like had to go and make deals or are continuing to make deals. Like they did a Reddit deal, for example. Like I'm assuming they're making deals with all these companies, and over time it will get worked out. And I think if the studios are smart, they will take what they can in this moment where there's a lot of money, being invested, And maybe in an ideal world, if I was them, I would say like take some massive amount of money up front in deals, but also like a percentage of upside, essentially, you know, because as this thing grows, they should continue to gain from that, and maybe it will actually be a whole new monetization for them. But I don't know. What do you guys think? How do you even account for this being? Yeah, it's really interesting.
I don't see it being it's moving so fast now that I just can't imagine that they would commit resources to going after
total whack-a-mole, right?
You say they, you're talking about Disney and stuff.
Disney,
yeah. Just to the back at the beginning of that last conversation, where like they're also weirdly, you could make the argument they're benefiting from like the models being so well trained on their stuff. It's like, how do you get something into an AI model post when they were all trained? It feels like in some ways it's like, you ever do you follow Paul Scalas, the Lindy man?
Yeah.
He talks about stuck culture, like Avengers movie 9027. You're just like recombining all this stuff. Funnily enough, that's how these models work too, right? So it's like you're just, the most notable content just gets accelerated and repackaged and repackaged and repackaged and repackaged. And if that stuff works, the guy's selling a course on it. I guarantee there's already 1,000 other channels doing exactly what he's doing. And maybe if he's the most successful, he gets a target. But what would they do? Take your YouTube videos down, please? Like,
you're right. Total whack-a-mole.
I wouldn't say they're going after him. It'd be more the companies, I guess.
Yeah. But also the just the meta will move on. This stuff reminds me of like crypto, shitcoin casino, like, oh, this thing's hot for 36 hours, right? And you can monetize it for that period of time. And then it's dead. Like, it's completely, like, not just dead, like people vehemently hate it after that point in time.
No, toads are still around. Toads are still.
I mean, there are a few exceptions.
Strong.
Exceptions
Store
that prove
of value.
The rule.
There you go.
We're talking about. I said shitcoin's not fine art, boys.
Exactly. Yeah, a toad is
very
a toad.
Different game. Very different game. And I mean that very seriously, by the way.
One toad is worth a toad. One toad is worth one toad.
Exactly.
Yo, the one thing I still got in there, man, is still holding strong.
No, I mean, I think you'll be all right on that
down
one. Down 99% long enough timeline.
Probably, but it's all right.
Not investment advice.
This guy is legit. Anyway, I think it will function that way too. It's like the machine spins up, attention accrues to this thing, it moves on. It's like this will be a nice what's the word to get to the next topic? A nice segue to the Elon and Trump thing, you know? Okay. Something that would have been an insane news story, a week of news, a month of debate, and like, let's get TV shows and interviews and all this stuff, is now like 6 hours and people have forgotten about it. And like, if you'd have said that 2 years ago that would have happened, people were like, no, our culture will never accelerate and go off the rails in such a way that would ever be like a normal thing to happen. And it just, I mean, I need to increase my vocabulary to be able to explain the phenomena that I think people have tried to articulate frequently, like post-COVID. Just feels like, have you seen the it's so over, we're so back, the sine wave, and it just compresses to the end. That's what it feels like. And like all of these technologies by definition are like so much more powerful that in a month's time, you'll be able to do that with one prompt instead of 20 prompts, and you won't need a course. And it just, the only
thing, sorry, Jack, go ahead.
No, that's basically my point, is like, I just feel like it feels like a big deal, and then people sort of direct their attention towards it. And then as soon as everybody's looking at it, something else happens. Yeah.
The only thing I'd add to what you say, or slightly challenge the comparison to in the hot moment, like NFTs, for example, or the crypto meme coins, was primarily driven by pure, like, you know, monetary gain, most of it, right? And whereas this is like a tangible reduction of cost for something that is already a part of a massive creative machine. So making a movie costs,
yeah,
whatever.
I didn't answer that part of the question. So
okay,
you're right
yeah,
to bring that
yeah.
up.
So you probably agree with it anyway. But I'm saying, so that part, I think in the micro of the guy making a course, making some money from these like channels, is definitely kind of its own little thing at the moment. When I say little, meaning just in this moment, like is a comparable thing. Whereas like long term, the cost reduction of a movie studio or someone who's just a creative person, making little like vlogs or even full movies in the future is here to stay, I think, right? And so that would be the only thing where
for
let
me give you the
and those
Hollywood
guys, they would have to.
actually.
Yeah, go on.
I totally agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing is decentralizing, getting cheaper, like shorter. I don't even think.
Yeah.
You know what? I read this tweet. It was like, or maybe it was going around Substack. It was like, it now feels productive to watch a film. Like if you could stay off your phone for 90 minutes, 2 hours. It's
You've
like,
got an attention span to watch a 2-hour film. You're doing well. It's true.
And like, I will be really curious if just by definition of like the environment that people typically will produce these like minute long, 30-second long, 15-second long things as opposed to feature length films. I'm sure like that stuff in my mind will exist more in like the, arty corner of film, Tribeca Film Festival, all these like Sundance. People will like explore the medium that way, but 99% of this will be slop with a short path to monetization.
Did we talk
Jack,
about the phrase? Oh, sorry, Trung, real quick. Did we talk about the phrase deep reading? Did this come up, or was this in a conversation with someone else?
No,
apparently Gen Z, and again, I've just heard this as I sound like such an old man saying this. Apparently, Gen Z are calling reading a book deep reading. or some people meaning like you're actually sitting there reading a book and ideally physical, which honestly I get it. Like I'm the same. I struggle like when you're watching 30-second videos all day, and we're reading tweets. Like going and reading a book feels like you're unlocking from the Matrix, right? Like it is deep reading, but it's just funny that it's actually just reading. Sorry, Trung, I just wanted to add that in.
Well, I guess. Go on, Trung. Sorry.
No, I was just going to give the number that you guys, one stat that was probably worthwhile. And then you guys jump on. It was like, you would basically saying, Jack, that they're going to create so much content. So I'll give you an example. This is from Doug Shapiro, great Substack, former head of IR at Time Warner. Do you know how much Hollywood makes 15,000 hours of television and film a year, right? YouTube, you're going to laugh, 300 million hours of content is uploaded on YouTube a year. Imagine if 0.1% of that is watchable. 0.1%. Probably about right. That means 99.9% is unwatchable. 0.1% is watchable. That's 30,000 hours. That's twice as much as Hollywood puts out a year. To Jack's point about all these people now not necessarily making a film, but you're making these 5, 10, 15-minute things that, it took Mr. Beast a month. You can make it in a week now or a day. Imagine if that just doubles the amount that YouTube has. So YouTube goes from 0.1% watchable to 0.2% watchable. That means that 60 hours of content is just drowning out Hollywood, right? And the last thing I'll say about Hollywood is James Cameron is on the board of Stability Diffusion or Stability AI. He's not a dummy. Probably the most tech-forward director in the industry. And his point is this is from the Hollywood side. He's not defending saying like you want to destroy the industry, you want AI everything. But he's like, there are movies right now that can't get made, right? Like a Marvel movie is $300 million. He's like, you can't make a $50 million movie if you want similar level of effects. He's basically saying AI, and you guys kind of hinted at this, will allow the making of $50 million movies that could not otherwise exist. You guys see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And he's like, this is good for the industry. And but yeah, that was all I want to say. Yeah, long tail.
I was just going to pull up a Lindy Man tweet that was very on brand for our discussion. It's one topic back, but it will still make sense. It says this is a quote tweet of the liquid glass announcement. It says the phone has been solved. It is done. It is a rectangular black shape with a camera on the outside. There has not been any improvements in over a decade. The way forward is either you put the phone in sunglasses or inside your skull. And then there's a great follow-up tweet that says,
that's hilarious.
It's like trying to innovate a spoon. This year's Spoon Pro Max features 1% more curvature and haptic feedback. Perfect.
Oh my goodness,
that's
dude.
so good. All right. Let's talk about you, Elon Trump. What do you guys? Any thoughts on what happened since last time we recorded?
I just want to say Jack's thoughts, the main one here. I cannot believe how fast these news cycles go.
Yeah,
that was one of the most intense Twitter days in recent memory, dude. It jumped from 70th in the App Store to like 10 or 15 just based on people being to see what Elon was going to say next.
Oh, you mean X? Yeah, makes sense.
I mean, listen, here's a TLDR on it. Elon left Doge far short of the fiscal cost-cutting goals. This happens at the same time as Trump's rolling out the One Beautiful Big Bill, which a big part of that bill is adding up to $5 trillion to the deficit.
Me and Jack are just laughing. I'm assuming just because the name is
One Beautiful Big Bill. Unbelievable, right?
Ridiculous.
So,
but we remember the name, to be fair.
But it goes to the opposite of the entire point of Doge. Listen, Doge has been so politicized at this point. Like, we could spend 10 hours talking about it. But the whole point is Elon's leaving the government. Obviously took a damage to his brand, which he'll literally just said it himself. It's like, I took a lot of damage to our brand doing this, right? And Tesla's brand, obviously. That's what happens when you politicize a corporation. Everybody, this is not news. And he had said... a day after he left the administration, ostensibly because he was a part-time government employee, can only do 130 days, he tweeted out, I think this is like May 23rd, I probably should have come to this conclusion earlier, but it seems like GDP growth is essential. As in, there's two ways to fix this problem. We're going to cut spending on the government side of this leviathan of the state, which only gets bigger, or you grow yourself out of it. And he came out of, this is my takeaway. He came out of this experience realizing there's no way these cuts are ever going to happen. It's like the state, the political incentives, the will to make this happen. It's a runaway train, right? It is a complete runaway train. This is not just to America. This is like every Western nation in the world that has over 100% debt to GDP. This is what happens when runaway deficits and debt occur. It's like it can't stop because the interests just start eating into what the state can offer, and then it slows down the economy. That means you get less tax revenue, which means you got to raise more debt, and it's a death spiral, right? This is what people are talking about. He realized this, and to his point, probably should realize this way before, and then on top of that, the bill does the opposite of what Doge is going to do. That split happens with him and Trump. Because the MAGA and tech right coalition has always been, and dude, how many people were like,
the most predictable thing at some point,
like,
right?
This is going to blow up. Yeah, everyone knew it was going to blow up.
Fork in the road.
It's like, well, Bilal, we didn't really talk about this. I think you and I did briefly, but the H-1B visa blow up was the first thing that happened.
Yeah, first time we saw that.
Where we saw the tech industry wants H-1Bs for obviously high-tech workers, the best of the best. But that program is also manipulated. If we're being honest, I've applied for H-1Bs as a lottery. I tell you right now, there are 1 million people in the world more qualified than me. And if I had won that lottery, it would have been a diminishment to the U.S. economy. I'll tell you that right now.
I don't know about that. That's just a ridiculous thing to say.
No, it is. Dude, would you rather have
diminishment? Jack's cracking up as well.
No,
I know what you're trying to say, but
I'm saying it as a principle, not a me individually.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
But the whole point is that like people like me are getting that versus a guy with like 3 PhDs in AI, right? That is a diminishment. Could be the next Larry Page.
I get what you're
saying. Could be the next Jensen Huang.
Someone who's properly crediting the videos that they're using.
Exactly. Yeah. Someone who gives the hat tip to the original poster of a VR video on Reddit.
Guys, am I wrong though? I should not be getting the H-1B.
No, I get what you're saying. When you do, like, I get what you're saying. When I applied, I similarly was reading my application originally.
I'm not saying that you would have diminished. I'm just saying that Jensen Huang could have taken your place.
No, of course. Yeah. No, I remember Jack, I don't know if what you moved here with, what visa or whatever, but I remember reading my original, visa application or whatever. And obviously the lawyers write very specific language, right? Yeah. And they have to prove, for my sort of visa at the time, 12 years ago, it was that you can't hire someone like me here, and you have specialist knowledge or something like that, or leadership or whatever. So yeah, anyway, that's a whole.
I was making fun of myself too. So anyway,
yeah, of course. No, that's why
we're just defending you. We're just defending.
Yeah, we're
Trump.
defending you on your behalf. Someone's got to post memes too, Trump.
OP creditor, right? But Jack, let me wrap it up. So obviously on Friday, you guys all saw this. Everyone listening saw it. Elon just went nuclear. It also happened because they pulled the nomination for Jared Isaacman, who has been on, Jared Isaacman did the first civilian on the SpaceX stuff. He was going to lead NASA. 43-year-old billionaire. He started Shift4, the fintech firm, when he was 16 years old. This guy's a monster. Most qualified, one of the 5 most qualified guys in America to be the NASA administrator. He obviously got pulled out because he was a Musk ally. And, it was clear that there are segments of the Trump administration that wanted Elon out, which, Steve Bannon had wanted him out since day one, right? And Steve Bannon obviously has a bit of that coalition. He's no longer part of the administration, but his rhetoric and his philosophy has a strong vein in the administration. Elon goes full nuclear, pulls up the Epstein card, takes credit for winning the election. Basically says that he's around for 40 years and that Trump has 3.5 years or maybe even less, right? Like basically insinuating that. But as with anything Trump related and Elon related at this point, it's kayfabe. We talk about it. My initial instinct was, this feels kayfabe to a point. I'm not saying they planned it. I'm not saying it's 4D chess. It feels a little bit kayfabe, the illusion of conflict to drive attention, right? But I felt that until he dropped the Epstein bomb. I'm like, okay, that doesn't feel very kayfabe. But then JD Vance comes out. JD Vance's first tweet in response was a photo of him and Theo Von. And it's like,
that was funny.
Mr. Big News Day. So I'm like, okay, and then ever since
Did you watch the episode, by the way, JD?
I did. It was
we were just talking about that before the pod.
But anyways, dude, so Dave, to the point of the news cycle, it's already passed. Well, I'm not saying that he'll ever be first buddy again, Elon and Trump, but Trump is the most transactional person, maybe in the history of mankind. Every single Zelensky, told him didn't have the cards, embarrassed him in the Oval Office. A week later, they signed the Ukraine deal. They have the iconic photo at the Vatican. He called Kim Jong-un, little rocket man. I got a bigger button than you. Threatened nuclear war. Goes, shakes this guy's hand, makes Kim Jong-un's life. He's the most transactional dude in the world. If you can give him something, he's going to cut a deal with you. It's in Elon's interest. It's in Trump's interest for them to work together. And we've seen that in the past few days. Is like, obviously with a lot of crazy things happening in LA, they're back on the same page, it looks like. But the whole point of this was what Jack has said at the beginning. These news cycles are moving so fast. It's insane. We missed this for 4 days. It's done. However, having said that, last thing I'll say, Nintendo Switch will still be relevant next week, so we're going to talk about it then.
That's good. I will say one of the funniest tweets from Elon's account was last night or the night before. He said, "It's outrageous how much character assassination has been directed at me, especially by me."
By me, yeah, great.
It's like,
perfect.
I don't know. It feels like he's coming down there to.
Let's wrap this, guys. We're doing a double record. Give us your thoughts on that, or was that the wrap?
Yeah, I'll give my 10 seconds thing real quick, Jack, if you have anything. Just kind of like I said, I think when we recorded originally on this, we obviously try not to get too political, but my original thought was there was this tech adjacent right, Peter Thiel, Elon, David Sachs equivalent little crew. And then you've got more like old school, MAGA from the old election cycle kind of coming together, voting for Trump. It felt like inevitable at some point. Yeah. Those things would be a fork in the road. I just didn't think it would be this quickly, to be honest. I thought it'd be at least a year.
Give it a year.
Give it a year, let it pass through a little bit. But it feels like very inevitable that was going to happen. Now Elon is obviously asking to, the America Party he's talking about, like a third party, stuff like that.
But like Trump's also made some very clear warnings. He's like, if there are consequences if you fund Democrats. Yeah, it's like,
they're going back and forth.
They kind of escalated wrestling style to like, they're both now standing on top of the cage with chairs and like they've walked it down a bit. But let's wrap up so we can go on to the next thing.
And then just the last thing, so even though I thought it would happen eventually, I wasn't sure it'd happen that quickly. And I will say just specifically on Elon, I do feel like he's kind of damaged on both sides right now. So like now he's not in a great position. I'm sure he'll figure it out and find his lane as he always is. He's the richest man in the world. He'll be fine. But I also think the black eye thing with the reports of the Besant thing, which I don't think that was necessarily the same day. But you guys obviously read or saw the rumors that they had a little scuffle, which I thought was just kind of a funny thought of Scott Besant and him having like, it was Besant, right? Scuffle. Yeah. Little rugby.
Which, by the way, while we're on this pod, it was leaked that Besant might be the new Fed chair. So the
that's
text
interesting.
I sent you guys at the start, WhatsApp, was just a quote tweet of someone that said infinity.
Wait, hold on.
Because I thought it was reported
that a reference to BTC, Jack?
I'm assuming so.
Exactly. The denominator is worthless. By this point.
That's true. Yeah, Jesus Christmas. All right, anything else, Jack? Any thoughts on that, mate, before we move on?
No, I think the fact that it's almost irrelevant at this point is crazy. That's my only comment. And like in the moment, like it's never coming back from this. It's never gonna the world's changed forever. And then the next day it's the same thing. You know the Wojak meme. Nothing ever happens. Yeah,
buddy.
Consult the graphs.
I love Jack's impression. Jack's impression of the panicker. Oh God, it's over. It's over. The Republic is done.
You know, I'll give you my favorite quote on that stuff is Dalio. Nothing is ever as good or as bad as it seems.
Yeah, that's a
best
classic.
thing he ever
just
wrote.
Came out. Plug.
Banger. What is it? Civil War now or something?
Yeah,
isn't it?
unbelievable. All right, guys, let's jump to the next one.
All right, yeah, and hope you guys enjoyed that. As we were mentioning, we are recording AMAs just to give people a heads up. Those will be coming out in July because people have been asking in Telegram and stuff. So we're pre-recording 2 to 3 of those. You'll see those in July. And so look out for those. All right. Thanks for being here. We'll see you guys next week. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Peace.